What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Deville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Devin Haney, Jorge Linares. It went down to the wire. We had a very, very competitive fight today. Devin Haney showed his poise. He used his jab. He stayed behind his jab most of the fight. From first, second, third, fourth, fifth rounds. Round 6 was a changer to me, okay? Jorge Linares started throwing those combinations and landing those combinations, okay? And one thing about combinations, if you throw 5, you're bound to land 2, and that's what Jorge Linares started to do. Bars. So, Jorge Linares was tough. He was getting touched up with the jab again. Devin Haney, he was fighting smart up until the 6th round. And when the 6th round started, something changed. I think he started to exchange from round 6, 7, 8. And that's when Jorge Linares started getting in these punches with the left uppercut. He would throw the left to the body, then he would throw a left uppercut upstairs. And he caught Devin Haney a few times with that left uppercut. Devin Haney caught him with his jab straight left hand, which he would take, okay? He would dip, slip, throw the left hook, and he was very successful with the left hook. And I think that was a very good weapon for Devin Haney. However, Jorge Linares was game. He wasn't getting hurt, even though Devin Haney started to go to the body. And I think in rounds 8 and 9, I think Jorge Linares was getting affected by the body punches, because I think the way you break down a fast throwing combination fighter like Jorge Linares is go to the body, okay? But he withstood, okay? And rounds 9, 10, and 11th were very competitive. And the strange thing happened in the 11th round. Jorge Linares caught him with a 5-punch combination, and it landed with a right hand. And then after he knew he hurt Devin Haney. He knew he did. He hurt Devin Haney, and because Devin Haney kind of buckled, and he kind of allowed him. He pantomimed, you know. He like, hey, there you go. He took a bow for Devin Haney, and he knew he was definitely hurt after that. And it was one of those things where that was the game changer. Okay, that changed the whole fight. In rounds 12, Devin showed that he was clearly hurt. He showed that right hand hurt him, and it followed into the 12th round. And Jorge Linares, I feel, didn't capitalize on that particular round like he should have. You know, he allowed Devin Haney, the bigger, taller guy, to wrap him up. He allowed him to survive. And that's one of those things that I am disappointed about Jorge Linares. He should have took the urgency. He should have took the initiative to get Devin Haney out of there, because he was clearly hurt. Look, when anytime you break and you clinch, and then here's the problem. This was the equation and the predicament for the referee. The referee saw that Jorge Linares would catch him with a straight right whenever Devin Haney goes to clinch. That's a veteran move. Hey, you know, get your punches off, clinch, right? Stop the other person from getting off. Hit without being hit. It was one of those things that you do in the sport when you don't want to get hit, when you just landed your punches and then you wrap them up. So what happened, well, Jorge Linares started throwing a straight right, and the right was actually behind the head because he was already in the clinch position, okay? But with Jorge started to take a little step back and take a right and another right and another right and a left hook, and it was starting to affect Devin Haney. Devin Haney was hurt at the end of the round 11, and I think Jorge Linares should have capitalized on it, which he didn't do. And I also think that Jorge Linares I noticed something about those two guys. When I interviewed Jorge Linares, I thought he was a lot taller than that. Devin Haney is a lot taller. He's maybe 2 inches taller than Jorge Linares. Okay, and then that was the whole equation. If you got a counterpuncher with fast hands versus a bigger puncher, really just a pure boxer like Devin Haney was able to keep him back. That was the whole equation. Okay, so the equation was Jorge Linares getting past those jabs, right? And throwing his and landing his own combinations. But that really didn't happen a lot than Jorge Linares expected. Jorge Linares, it was the first time he was in there with somebody that did throw combinations, quick combinations, speed, combinations with speed. And this is what we had, okay? Now, Jorge Linares, I think, should have done a lot more in this fight. Devin Haney, make no mistake about it, in the 12th round, he survived. You got to give him props for surviving, because he could have went out on his shield trying to prove a point when there was no point to prove, and he felt that he had enough rounds in the bag, which he did, to win the fight. Okay, but as far as Jorge Linares, he can't be another Austin Trout. He can't be a guy that goes in there and just does enough to look good. Jorge Linares should have done a lot more in that fight. He should have threw a lot more of those combinations. I think, combination-wise, he was faster, because Devin Haney, of course, used his shots, slipped, pot-shotted, catch and shoot a lot of times. He was the counterpuncher in there. Whereas Jorge Linares should have been more quick. He should have been more aggressive. He should have used those combinations more to appease the judges. You don't have to land every punch like he didn't. He didn't land every punch when he threw those combinations, but the punches that he did throw were very impactful, okay? He hurt Devin Haney, okay? Devin Haney won for 2 scorecards. It was 116 to 112, well, that's 8 rounds to 4. And the last one was 115 to 113, okay? So that was actually, 7 rounds to 5? So, yes, Devin Haney won that by unanimous decision, but it wasn't a lopsided scorecard, so I am grateful for that. However, I do Jorge Linares, he shouldn't have anything to feel bad about, because he was the aggressor. He was the one that made the impact of the fight. He changed the tide in the fight. It's just, except for the back and forth. But at the end of the day, he should have done more to place his stamp on his on the judges. Okay, and then that's what you call ring generalship, doing more for that. And I think as time goes on, the older these fighters get, they like to be more wise and pick their shots instead of letting their hands go. And I think that was Jorge Linares' problem. However, when the scorecards was announced and the winner, of course, was announced, Devin Haney claimed that he wasn't hurt at all, but I think that's 100% absolute bullshit. He was hurt. Okay, that's why he held basically the last half of the 12th round. Why? Because he was hurt. He was like, he got caught with a good shot, and I think the pride of fighters do not want to admit they're hurt. Dude, you get hit with a shot, you get caught with a shot, it stops, it deters you to a certain degree, and that's exactly what happened to Devin Haney. Devin Haney was hurt, no doubt about it. He survived the 12th round. You got to give him props for surviving the 12th round. But one thing you don't do is fake it like you wasn't hurt in the first place. Okay, and that's exactly what he was. He was like, oh yeah, I wasn't screaming, but I was just calling. No, you were screaming, bro. Okay, you got hurt and you held on, but it was a good move for him, because he could have tried to go out on his shield, someone that shows inexperience, but he showed that, hey, I'm hurt, let me grab on and take my victory. Okay, now how heroic is that when you're dealing with other fighters? It doesn't, again, from Gamboa to Linares, it surely showed the elevation of competition. Okay, and this shows that Devin Haney, is he ready for those guys? Yes or no? Well, it's not as impressive as King Ryan dropping Luke Campbell with a 7th round KO. It's not. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, it is not. But he got the win. That's important. However, I do think that Jorge Linares was the best competition that any of those 4 kings ever had. And that's including Ryan Garcia. That's including, of course, Gervonta Tank Davis, because he hasn't fought anyone. And Teofimo Lopez. Because, see, with Teofimo Lopez, you know what? I take that back. Teofimo Lopez actually had Lomachenko. But, and then second would be Haney. So Teofimo, Haney, King, Garcia, then Gervonta Tank Davis, in that order. And I think it was a very, very impressive fight. It was a very action-packed fight. I think Linares should have changed. He could have changed the tide just by throwing more combinations and being more aggressive. That would have been a totally different fight because when he threw, he landed. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Devin Haney scoring a unanimous victory over Jorge Linares. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.